Welcome to Tables,
Lists,
and Chairs
Anniversary Edition, which we're celebrating by not having any of the people who were on the first episode of this show.
Yeah!
Because we are doing the exact same topic. Best WWE World Champions, World Heavyweight Champion, WWE Champion, Universal Champion. Am I missing any champions?
World Heavyweight Champions 2.
So no NXT, no WCW, it's just those. We're all each going to pick our number 10. They'll get 1 point. Number 9 will get 2 points. At the end, we'll total up all of the points to find the definitive, objectively best top 10 WWE World Champions. And because we were still finding our feet on that very first episode a year ago, we didn't total up all the points back then. So what we're going to do...
It wasn't definitive then.
Yeah, not yet. Denise.
Can't trust her.
So we're going to total up all of ours and all of that first episode to find the definitive top champion ever.
That's great.
Doubly definitive. Hello and welcome to Tables, Lists, and Cheap Plugs. If you want to see a bonus exclusive edition of TLC, you can do so right now over at patreon.com/WrestleTalk, where you can see our lists of the best WWE Women's Champions ever. Your support helps keep these shows alive, so make sure you check it out today. Here's a clip.
And I love her as the NXT Women's Champion, and yeah, a great run that she had. It's not had the same luck on the main roster, unfortunately.
Really should have won that WrestleMania match with Becky Lynch.
Yeah, probably.
Yeah.
I'm gonna go
Stupid Ben.
excuse you.
3, 2, 1. Here's number 10. Oh, it's Seth Rollins, Pedro Morales, and AJ Styles. Sullivan.
3 very comparable individuals.
Sullivan, why Seth?
When the Heist of the Century happened, I think that was one of my favourite things. And it was in the process of me getting back into wrestling. I'd already got back into wrestling, but that was the thing that really, I was like, I need to watch this all the time now. And actually, I think he was very good as a heel champion for that year. He did a very good job being in a very bad position, and this is very personal to me.
Far before my time. Not gonna say that I've sat back and watched a lot of Pedro Morales matches, but when you're looking at, the best world champions and you're trying to do it from a loosely objectively kind of position, and you're looking at a guy who reigned for literal years, selling out Madison Square Garden time after time, that is pretty much like your prototypical WWE World Champion of that era.
So a historically informed list. I think me and Sullivan have gone personal because AJ Styles doesn't really, I didn't see him factor onto anyone else's top 10s.
He was on my long list.
Was he? That's
Yeah.
nice.
Yeah.
But I just started covering wrestling as a job really in 2016, and that's when the brand split happens that year. And wrestling had been a bit naff for a while. But that SmackDown, there was like 8 months of really good SmackDown stuff there. And AJ Styles was the heel champ, the face that runs the place. I know Dean Ambrose and James Ellsworth. It doesn't sound like the best feud if you weren't there watching it, but it was really good. 3, 2, 1. We've got Bruno Sammartino, CM Punk. That's awfully low, Tempest. And Daniel Bryan for me. Tempest, let's go first with CM Punk.
This was a tricky one to place because for a lot of them here, they have maybe an iconic reign and then other ones that can either supplement your argument or hinder it or whatever. This obviously, CM Punk is the big reign that everybody likes to point to, 434 days. And at the time, there weren't any good WWE title reigns. Even looking back to the start of CM Punk's run, people think it starts at Money in the Bank, but they hot potato it 5 times before he wins it at Survivor Series and then has a year-long reign. But we were always hoping at the time that it would be better. The not ever main eventing the pay-per-view over John Cena thing, not feeling like the most pushed act on the show kind of hindered the run from where it could have been. There's a lot to like about it. I just do think that unfortunately the machine was not behind Punk at the time enough to push him to the point that he would have been a legitimate top 5 all-time world champion.
Do you think if he is in that Mania main event as a triple threat, it could be pushed into the top 5?
I think a little of both. They both would have helped, but in general, it's really difficult for me to look at the run as being super important if on the same show that he defends the title against Daniel Bryan, John Cena's main eventing against John Laurinaitis. Really? You know what I mean? Or John Cena versus The Big Show, or what have you.
I've gone for Daniel Bryan. Now, I think history has now proven, and everyone agrees, that WrestleMania 30 is a dud show.
You sure
But
about that?
this win is undoubtedly a huge success on it. Then the Eco Belt Warrior run, when he turned heel, that great match with Brock Lesnar.
Yeah, he's not on my list.
Yeah, and he's not on mine either. But you make a good point about the Eco Belt. I love that run.
It's his best reign.
He's so good.
And he came back from that retirement, and we all thought, well, he's never going to turn heel ever again. And WWE managed to screw him up in a couple of months.
Yep.
And he didn't have to turn heel, but it was the heel turn that really facilitated a really good reign.
Now, I remember Bruno Sammartino as a child. I can't name you a match that I haven't watched of Bruno Sammartino's. I have watched every single match of this reign in great detail. And I would tell you about it, but I like keeping secrets. So I've put this in because I think you have to have a nod to the longevity of this reign and to the history of where wrestling has come from. So important to wrestling in general. I think you have to have him on the list.
Just a smidge better than Seth Rollins.
Yeah.
3, 2, 1. Me and Sullivan have both gone for U2 guitarist, The Edge.
The Edge, yes, absolutely.
And Tempest has gone Roman Reigns here.
He's not even on my list.
Edge
He's my
isn't on your
favorite
list.
wrestler.
What?
He's the Edge. He's such a good guitarist.
Well, what I will say is that, the Sweetest Thing,
Yep.
City of Blinding Lights, these are all-time great riffs.
Yes.
And quantity over quality as well. Edge has had a lot of World Championship reigns. With some, I'm now talking about the wrestler, just in case anyone's confusing.
Steven's transition.
I wasn't particularly watching wrestling, or particularly WWE. I was TNA during his glory days, I would say, on SmackDown. The bits that I did watch of WWE at the time, like the Elimination Chamber title loss and then title win later in the night. He's one of those guys that just always felt like the belt belonged with him in that era.
Yeah.
A lot of his short reigns were down to injuries,
Yes.
which I can't really blame him too much for. But yeah, all-timer.
I totally agree. And also, I think he was somebody who gave us some sweet, sweet relief from Cena Winslow. And that counts for so much. Fantastic. And the Edge is a great guitarist. I'm not going to deny it. He's great.
Who'd have thought, eh?
Yeah.
We fucking made it. We fucking did it. We got here after all these years. We're able to say that Roman Reigns, one of the greatest world champions in WWE history. His 4-year reign does earn a lot of points. It does lose some as well, because there are chunks of that reign that are simply not good. His other reigns, I never really felt like a lot of the other ones mattered that much. He wins the title from Triple H at WrestleMania. Terrible. Has a kind of nothing really happening run. Has a good match with AJ, but that's about it. Loses the title. Okay, when does he win the title back? This is a while that he has the leukemia thing, short run. Not much there. Wins it back, 4 years. That's the run. No one's gonna look at any of the other Roman Reigns title reigns for the history of WWE. This is the one, 4 years.
With both belts.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was
Idiot.
ridiculous.
Stupid. Shouldn't have done that. Points off.
3, 2, 1. Okay, Sullivan's gone John Cena.
Oh, what?
We've got Kurt Angle, and I've gone Bret Hart at number 7. I think Tempest is. Well, we'll come to you, Tempest.
I think he's over the moon.
Explain why. I think John Cena's a ridiculous pick, so let's get into this, boys. Sullivan.
You have to have him on the list. You have to have him on the list.
You don't.
Yes, you do.
don't.
Yes, you do. You have to have him on the list. I'm sorry you do. These are the facts of life. We like John now. We didn't like him when he was champion any of the times he was, but we like him now. And you have to have him on. He did it so many times.
He lost it so many times.
Yes, he did. And he didn't mind. And that was annoying. I think you have to have him on the list. It's begrudging, but you have to have him on there. I'm sorry, I rest my case.
Do you want him on the list?
No!
Are you doing this for the who are you doing this for?
I'm doing this because it's just a truth. It's a truth. Look at this. Look at the truth.
I can't see it.
Damn, that might be a better punchline. I was gonna say, put the insert of John Cena doing the No Good Men line of "You can't handle the truth."
I want the truth! You can't handle the truth!
Kurt Angle One of the best. I mean, honestly, the trifecta of people here, we have 2/3 of the people I would consider to be the best North American wrestlers of all time.
Ah, John, yeah.
That being said, sorry, Kurt, you didn't make the cut. This guy, I went back and looked at like a lot of his title reigns because like some of them sort of blend together at various points. A lot of that like 03 kind of era with the Brock stuff, a lot of that gets kind of lost in my memory. But there's a lot of highlights of it as well, like the Iron Man match on SmackDown, probably the best WWE Iron Man match. Additionally, go back to the Attitude Era, and you've got Kurt Angle as the centerpiece of the build running up to WrestleMania 17. You wouldn't know it going into the show, but from like October or so until February, from 2000 to 2001, which is like maybe the hottest period in WWE history. Like if you're talking about the absolute peak, this is the kind of area that we're talking about. Kurt Angle's on top, having great matches. It's his first world title reign. He never feels out of place amongst the other main event stars of the era. A proper star-making title reign as well, supplemented by further excellent reigns, World Heavyweight Championship when they needed him the most, and Batista hurt himself again. He was like, hey Kurt, could you have this World Heavyweight title we've never given you before for no real reason? It'll look really good on you, and it does.
Well, from, he said, arguably the best Iron Man match in WWE history to one of the most boring, Bret Hart versus Shawn Michaels. But it was, I haven't actually gone for any title reigns or champions that I didn't live through, apart from Bret. Because when I started watching in the Attitude Era, well, I'm not that young.
I was gonna say, I don't think
Ollie
I'm
is
your
23
senior.
years old.
It's been a tough 23 years. I wasn't watching wrestling when Bret was on top. I must have caught the tail end of him in WCW, but he wasn't on Thunder, which was the only show I could watch at the time. So a lot of my experience with Bret is indirect. All the people like Punk and FTR and Sami Zayn, everyone who says he's the best wrestler ever, and it made me go back and watch a lot of the stuff like the Owen Hart cage match, the Yokozuna matches. 3, 2, 1. Oh, we've got Hulk Hogan, Johnson.
It's the truth!
Now we have another trifecta here.
and CM Punk. Okay, these are some names right here.
He simply has to be on here.
He does!
He does. I don't like him even now. I've never come around on it. Fuck him. That being said,
I don't understand what's happening.
unfortunately, some of these reigns were actually pretty good. He wins Wrestler of the Year in 2007 because he has a great reign. The Michaels matches at WrestleMania, the Raw match where they go an hour. This is a guy, obviously there are 16 world title reigns here. I'm not gonna pretend that all 16 of them were good. I'm not gonna pretend that even half of them were good.
Even 15 of them were good.
I would, there's probably another one or two in there.
Surely, there's got to be.
Surely.
Just by law of averages.
There were some long ones that were good. There were some long ones that weren't good, But I think the best of John Cena's reign, that comes in 2007, I think puts him above most WWE champions ever.
Right, I've gone for CM Punk. Similar reasons for Tempest already said, that 434-day title reign. The Money in the Bank win, which, is separate to the actual long reign. The heel turn. What I like about Punk's reigns, also the World Heavyweight Championship reign, I can't remember which one it was, but he uses the title as just a sort of vehicle to turn heel. That he starts off as, I'm the babyface, I won the belt, but then he almost becomes Gollum-esque about the title, and he has to turn heel. So that Raw 1000, when he turns heel on The Rock.
No, I have this. You should respect me because of this.
Yeah, it's Boxing with God, which might, some people consider as Punk's best promo over the pipe bomb. So and of course, because I'm a CM Punk guy. But Sullivan, does that mean you're a Hulk Hogan guy?
Look, I just like the guy. It's
Just
not about the
something about
wrestling.
him, eh?
It's just the guy as a person. I shouldn't put Hulk Hogan's name down here. I should put his actual
Terry Bollea.
Terry Bollea. That's who I'm putting down as the best.
He's in legal terms not got as big a cock as Hulk Hogan.
And that's the only
in
reason
court.
why I didn't put down Terry Blair, otherwise he'd be on this list. Again, it's just the importance of the man. Yes, he's not the best in the ring. He's really bad in the ring. Fuck me, like some of the matches that he had. Like I remember watching that WrestleMania 3 match against Sandra. It is so shit. It's so rubbish. But I think you have to have him on the list. He's just so important to the history of wrestling, and his reigns are just too important not to have him on the list.
Counter argument.
Yes?
F him.
I agree.
3, 2, 1. Okay, we've got Sullivan with Stone Cold, Tempest with The Rock, and me with Brock Lesnar. I don't think there's anyone who's had such a big gap between in like all-time title reigns. Him coming back wasn't a nostalgia run after the MMA break and everything. That first series of runs, you know, he has the match with Angle at Mania. That Rock match where he wins the first time at SummerSlam, they're booing The Rock in that match. And the way he loses the belt, like, to me, that makes Eddie Guerrero in that No Way Out match in 2004. John Cena squash at SummerSlam. The part-time run in 2019 was hugely frustrating, but it did have a silver lining of making the belt feel more important. Stone Cold, Sullivan.
Stone Cold means so much to me, and obviously all of wrestling. But I just feel like there are better, ever so slightly better champions. But I don't know. It's very hard. I feel bad for putting him at 5 now. Don't look at me like that. Move on.
Well, I feel it's probably something similar with you and The Rock, right?
It is, and The Rock, obviously, is one of the most successful wrestlers in WWE history, and was never quite known for long reigns. This is the kind of guy that broke through my threshold of, oh, well, none of your reigns were longer than 3 months, so away with you. This is a guy who was able to take a short run, you know, during the Attitude Era when short runs were common, and make it work. You know, he could win a belt and be champion for 3 weeks, lose it back to Triple H, and then win it back and not pin Triple H. The Rock was the one to have the title, go into Mania, and lose it. Austin was the one to win the title at Mania, and that was the dynamic that they had. So, you need a perfect foil who's able to lose to the top babyface, and no one was able to do that at the time better than like The Rock and Vince McMahon and their dynamic. Whilst you wouldn't be able to find a singular reign from The Rock that I think stands out on the same tier as some of the others on this list, you can't argue that the man is not one of the most iconic and best WWE champions of all time.
3, 2, 1. We've got The Rock. Oh, for Sullivan, just missed out matching. Randy Savage for Tempest, and I've got Kurt Angle. Sullivan, The Rock.
Well, the thing is, right, the reason why I've gone for The Rock above Stone Cold is because I think I'm in an anxiously attached relationship with The Rock in the sense that I've loved him so much that I remember when he went away and then he came back as like Hollywood Rock and everything.
Because he was anxiously avoiding it.
Yeah, he was anxiously avoidant. And I remember people were booing him and I went, no, don't boo him, he'll go away again. Don't boo him. He's back. He's back and he loves us.
We should be happy that he's here. Doesn't matter how he treats us.
It doesn't matter. I'll take him back every time. Even if he abandons me.
This is pretty toxic, Sullivan.
Yeah, it's pretty toxic. It's pretty toxic stuff, but I love the guy. And I'll do anything. I'll kill someone for him.
Hulk Hogan's not on my list, but Randy Savage is. And this is because this is the only period of time in the 80s where I care about the WWE Championship. Fantastic wrestler, fantastic promo, fantastic character, larger than life. The year-long reign that he has from WrestleMania 4 to WrestleMania 5 is still considered like one of those all-time great WWE stories. That is still heralded. It's like folklore at this point. Enough time's gone past where it's like the mega powers exploding is like one of those all-time great stories. He could have easily have been like Luger or Warrior immediately after him, but he succeeds because he's great.
We've already had Kurt Angle on this list. I followed his rise. Like, me getting into wrestling as a kid was probably halfway through 99. So Kurt Angle was like the first big new guy to debut. And then I just watched him. I got to follow him go through all the championships, being the Eurocontinental champion. And then like by the next year, he was the champion. And it really did set unrealistic expectations for me, hitching my hopes and my heart to new wrestlers I liked. Because I thought, oh, well, if they're good enough, then the next year they'll be the world champion.
They'll all be as good as Kurt Angle.
Yeah. And that happened with Brock, but then it didn't happen ever again. 3, 2, 1. I've gone Roman Reigns. We've got Stone Cold for Tempest.
Yeah.
And Sullivan has gone Triple.
Indeed. What the f*** you on about?
You know what? I'll start. I don't care. Yeah, I think he was actually really fucking good. I think he actually was. Actually, Tempest. I think he actually was. No, I think he was actually Tempest. I actually think he was. Look. He was the one that you were desperate for him to lose. You were so desperate for him to lose all the time, and that is very important. It's the truth. I rest my case. Goodbye. No, don't rub him out. Now he's just ha ha.
Double H. Much love.
Yeah, okay, I'll put it down as Hulk Hogan because you agree with his politics.
Oh, backfired now. Stone Cold Steve Austin. Back to my points about all-time greats. Get out of here. Stone Cold, though. I take Stone Cold over The Rock. Mm-hmm. Stone Cold, to me, was the first guy where I watched and went, that's the best wrestler. Mm-hmm. I was like 11 or 12, and I just went, that guy's the best. Didn't matter if, like, Shawn Michaels had better matches or whatnot. I saw Stone Cold, and I went, oh, that's a wrestler. That's the best wrestler of all time. And then, as I got further into this, I watched like his matches, and it turns out he's actually really f***ing good. His promos are awesome. He's awesome. He's Stone Cold Steve Austin. He's the reason why I think 6-time world champion looks really nice on a wrestling resume. Any more than that, it's like, okay, you're starting to overdo it a little bit. Any less than that, it's like, you know. But 6-time WWE champion, I'm just like, ooh, something about that. Just, All the moments of the Attitude Era, most of them either had Steve Austin chasing for the belt or wearing the big eagle over his shoulder. Has a belt ever looked better on a specific wrestler? You could make the argument that for a period of time, the most successful wrestler ever. And by extension, I guess the most successful WWE champion.
Obviously, I'm not counting the first half of all of his reigns, but the singular second, not second one, but the longest, 1,316 days, is that right? Not I've got it written down here. But also double champ, Roman was already such a proven draw before then. And his character work, and again, the title meant so much to his character. He was obsessed by it, where he sort of dressed it up as, well, I need this to protect my family. I'm the head of the table. I've got to support the Bloodline faction. And really, pretty sure it's just about his own selfish insecurities. And it's like every time he raises that belt and he says, acknowledge me, is he saying acknowledge me as the champion, or is he saying like, please acknowledge me that I'm good because I had a whole decade where you didn't like me before then? I think a great, one of the best title reigns ever. Turn business around and character-wise is flawless. 3, 2, 1.
What is happening right now?
Yes! It's the truth!
What the f*** is going on this table? Did y'all
truth.
get your lists mixed up with the other fucking show? We're doing another one after this. Stay tuned, TLC viewers. The worst world champions is coming up. Apparently, you're getting a preview of it right now. The f*** is going on?
So Sullivan's gone for CM Punk, Tempest's gone for Bruno Sammartino, I've gone for Triple H.
I'm so happy you chose that because I felt like, oh no, have I made a real blunder here? But actually, I'm glad that I'm not on my own in this thought.
So one consistent thing I have said throughout all my criteria is how much the belt means to the character.
Yes.
And I can't think of any wrestling character in WWE where being the top guy with the championship has meant more to someone than Triple H as a character and, arguably as a human being. He's very protective of that spot. Plus, when I was getting in the Attitude Era, it was that 2000s year where Triple H was like, oh, he's the guy. He always has the belt. And yes, The Rock had all those short reigns, but then it would go straight back onto a Triple H so The Rock could chase Triple H.
Yeah.
And I always found that dynamic more interesting or compelling than The Rock being champ and Triple H chasing. And yes, there's all the reigns of terror, so the quantity arguments there as well. Now, I will say I have made a bit of a mistake.
Oh, John Cena, though. I mean, those reigns.
I have made a bit of a mistake because I thought The Rock was going to come up now, and I've just realised that
on your list.
that in putting AJ Styles on the list, I had somehow deleted The Rock from the number 3 spot.
I think that's absolutely fine, and I'm in love with The Rock.
But referees calls final.
there we
Triple
go.
H.
Number 2, he's going to have such a
Triple
high
H number
score
2.
now.
The second best WWE World Champion
I
of all
agree.
time.
Yeah,
I
I'm
agree.
glad that you agree. I wasn't brave enough to do the truth of being second best. So
He would be on my list of worst.
I had to put this loser on second best. I'm going to only add one small thing to this because you've already said everything I agree with CM Punk already. But I think it's so much about what he represented at the time. He was hope. And I think this is one of the most important. I think that hope actually in some way inspired people to continually enjoy indie wrestling and things that were not just the regular corporate spewed out rubbish that we'd had for so many years. So that's why he's number 2 for me. And Bruno.
It's a long reign, isn't it? He has a second one. He wins the belt back and holds it for another 4 years or whatever it is. Everyone forgets that.
Yeah.
That Bruno isn't a one-time world champion. He wins it back for another multi-year title reign.
People were sick of him. This guy again?
Reign of terror.
I do wonder what the temperature would have been like in New York at the time. There's 7.5 years of the first one and another 4 years in the second one. And you want to talk about the most big draws and large gates in Madison Square Garden history, you are not going to find a wrestler with more of them than this guy.
3, 2, 1. We've got Roman Reigns for Sullivan, Bret Hart, of course, for Tempest, and Stone Cold Steve Austin for me. All 3 different ones.
Yeah. I judge wrestling by how a wrestler makes me feel. I don't think I've felt as much as I have over the last 4 years with this title reign. This title reign, for some reason, just means so much to me. It feels like the highest of drama. And I know that they take a long time and a lot of people find that frustrating. I love it. I personally love it. I think it is... I don't care that it takes him 20 years to get down to the ring. I love it. I think the acting... This is one of the best actors as a wrestler I've ever seen, and from all of the bloodline as well. They are incredible actors. He's made me feel more than any wrestler has done, maybe ever, and that says a lot because I hated the guy, and now maybe I love him more than The Rock.
Canada.
Ever heard of it?
Literally feeling the jet lag coursing through my veins. One day after having returned from my home and native land, this man means so much to me. I swear to God, my first day home in Toronto, this past 2-week stretch I've just been on, I was walking along downtown. I'd had some Tragically Hip Canadian band in my headphones, and I was just like, I'm home. And I looked down, and I saw a star on the Canada Walk of Fame, and it said Bret Hart. And I went, F yeah! And I kept going. Maybe the greatest wrestler of all time. Full stop. Bret is a 5-time world champion, I want to say, in WWE, so just misses the 6. But he came in as a champion when they really needed him. I don't want to say he lit the business on fire or anything, but he was good for business as champion. He goes out there and they put the belt on him because they go to Europe and he's getting mobbed like it's the Beatles. Because everybody loves Bret Hart in Europe. And they take notice of this and they put the title on him when they really need a new guy. They really Luger didn't work out and Warrior didn't work out and maybe Diesel? No, Diesel didn't work out. Let's go back to Bret. Put the belt on Bret and then let him do the work and let him be the best world champion that you could possibly have on your roster right now. And also, he's Canadian. Number one in my heart, number one on my list.
I've gone for Stone Cold Steve Austin. I don't think there's much debate there. We've both been on your list as well. Sometimes it's about like the image of the person. With Stone Cold, I find it hard to think of him without him just carrying the belt down by his side. So cool and effortless in that way. And when I started watching in the Attitude Era, he was around, but he was about to be written out with injury. And that means for the first year that I watched, he was this mythologized figure. And I was like, oh, this Stone Cold guy is the best ever. And he's not even here. And I'm watching Kurt Angle and The Rock and Triple H. And I'm like, well, these guys are the best. If Stone Cold's better, then what? The heel turn at WrestleMania X7 killed a lot of stuff. But I admire it as a brave, creative move. Well, the results are in. I've just been handed the envelope. So first we're going to go through the combined results for this episode. Then we're going to go through the definitive, objective, super truthful results combined with last year's one as well. So for us three, at number 3... Triple H.
The truth. The truth.
It's all about the game.
Remember that word definitive that we were saying?
Number 2, Roman Reigns. And number 1, Stone Cold Steve Austin.
I would agree with that.
Yeah.
I like Stone Cold.
Triple H, 17 points. Roman Reigns, 21 points. And Stone Cold Steve Austin just with 24 there.
Lovely.
This episode of TLC has made my tummy upset.
Well, maybe combined with the last year's one, the first one might change things. Let's see. Number 3, Kurt Angle with 22 points. Number 2 is we've got a triple combined one. The Rock, Roman Reigns, and CM Punk at 29 points. Triple H is surely going to be number 1 then.
Yeah, surely. Yeah, come on.
Number 1, Stone Cold Steve Austin with an absolute runaway 54 points.
That's mad.
Yeah.
That's out of a possible 60?
Yeah.
That's insane.
That is
Yeah,
crazy.
That's insane.
That's only
Greatest world
down to-
champion of all time.
Yeah.
Thank you for watching this episode of TLC. If you want to see a bonus exclusive edition of this show, you can go over to patreon.com/WrestleTalk and check out our lists of the best WWE Women's Champions ever. Here's a clip.
Can't wait to see Eve's Horrors versus Alicia Fox
Yeah.
for 90 seconds.
Sure, yeah.
That's a title change of Fatal 4-Way 2010.
Yep.
There you go.
Sounds like one.